Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals, whatever the hell else you are. I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. Just pick one.
Hello, I am Lily, the master of messing up Audacity.
Apparently. And welcome to South America. It's like America, but it's South. Today we are covering Up, and we initially added this movie to our rotation of movies way back when we first started this podcast, and we started recording in August 2021. And we added this movie in memory of Edward Asner, who was the voice of Carl. He passed away in August of 2021. So it's been a while. We kind of expected we'd get to this movie earlier, but
I definitely did, yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of how things worked out. Whew. But anyway, this podcast episode will contain spoilers for Up. You can find a link to purchase it in the description. You can also, in the description if you're watching on YouTube, that is. Because we know a lot of you don't watch on YouTube. But
I know a lot of you are the gender male.
we do have some female listeners. I know that.
Well, considering that we have one, our total listener pool is 4.
You're not counting YouTube.
That's true. I'm only counting the parts where I have management over.
Yeah. But anyway, so regarding this movie, I have mixed feelings about it. This movie came out in 2009 when I was only 12 years old. I did not like this movie back then. And now I would say it's pretty good. I know a lot of people who say this is their favorite Pixar movie and that it's amazing and whatnot. It just doesn't strike that chord with me.
Yeah, it's a really sweet movie. I think it's definitely, just...
Come on.
No, sorry, I'm just on Audacity. I'm like, it's so small. The audio is so small.
Don't worry, I can boost it in
It,
recording. Not recording, in editing.
now I'll boost it before I send it to you. Um, how should I say? Especially the music.
Well, the music. Okay, let's briefly touch on that. The score in this movie was composed by Michael Giacchino, who is always a win. He composed the music for Inside Out. He composed the music for Incredibles. He composed the music for Doctor Strange. Like Michael Giacchino is always a win. So I'm not surprised that the score is at least amazing.
I like how you say that. At least amazing. But yeah, no, and it's just so relaxing. Like, this guy can do Incredibles, which is like high paced, high action, and then go off and do this.
Yeah, like Michael Giacchino is one of my favorite composers. I put him right along there with Koji Kondo, who did most of the music for the early Mario and Zelda games. And I'd also put him up there with Alan Menken, who has done most of Disney's musical numbers as well.
I would put him up there with whoever's the composer of the Persona music soundtrack.
Well, it's likely different composers,
That's,
but hey.
well, actually, I think it's mostly done by one
But
Probably.
anyway, regarding this movie, and one of the reasons where that I just don't really love it as much is like it stretches believability quite a lot. Like I can believe that Carl gets kicked out of his house for assaulting a construction worker. It is a bit of a stretch if you like are naive and don't think rich people will take advantage of the system, or not necessarily just rich people, but corporations, which we know that this is by and large.
Money.
So,
Yeah, the one big face corporation that took advantage of the entire world, effed it over, and had to turn everyone up into space.
yep, that corporation. Also, the company that made um, the batteries that power Buzz in Toy Story. But yeah, I didn't
What
look
did
for the A113 in this movie, and I probably should have.
Hmm. I'll look it up later.
Yeah, I probably will too. Because, like, as has been established, A113 is in every Pixar movie except for Monsters, Inc.
So there's something I have been wondering. How many fully helium balloons would it take to lift up one person?
That's what I'm wondering too. But, like, okay, I actually should continue talking about the things that make this movie unbelievable for me. Like, the whole idea of balloons lifting up a house, it's cool in concept, but it would never work. For starters, they'd have to rip the house off the foundation, and I feel like this movie is just pretending the foundation doesn't even exist. Um, and then for another
I
thing, the
mean,
way
you could have
houses are
that
built,
entire animation where like the entire animation
it
of
would
it
have
ripping the foundation.
it would have been a lot
I mean,
more.
it wouldn't work like that in real life,
And then
but
the
it
other
did
thing
still
too is
happen.
the houses are built with reliance on gravity to keep them together. So that wouldn't really work. And it doesn't just stop at the house either. Like, if you buy into the Pixar theory, you can excuse the animals' intelligence in this movie. But I still think it goes a little too far. You have dogs that are literally piloting planes.
Okay, let's talk about the dogs for a second. Up, it does such a good job with making their dogs seem like dogs. Like,
I
especially
would say
one of
they
my
do that
favorite
well
parts of
with
this movie.
Doug.
No, one of my favorite parts of this movie is when he accidentally says treat.
And then
If you
there's
know
the other
dogs,
there is the other aspect too of this movie continuing the misconception that there is like such a thing as an alpha male, which has been disproven. Um, it's not a real thing. And I probably should have talked about that in How to Train Your Dragon too, but we didn't mention it.
I mean, they're dragons.
Sure, they are fantasy creatures, but these are dogs, so
Yeah,
I think it's even less. I think it's even less forgivable in this type of movie. Um,
I mean, once you give
but yeah,
the
that
creatures the
that's
ability to talk and especially communicate to humans, they might adopt human ideals.
well, humans don't have alpha males either. Like seriously, anytime you see somebody calling themselves an alpha male, they're probably someone who lives in their mom's basement. And
politicians.
I've never seen a
They don't call
politician
themselves
call
alpha
himself.
male, but they call
I,
him. They don't call themselves alpha male, but they do call themselves stuff like leaders and whatnot, and controlling.
yeah, but anyway. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I know a lot of people have said like they cry within the first 10 minutes. I acknowledge, like I can see the sadness there. But I don't know. It's just other Pixar movies move me to tears much more than this one ever could. I feel like obviously it's sad, and I honestly think the moment where Carl opens up what was the title of that book? Was it just called My Adventure Book?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
When Carl opens that up and goes past the stuff that I will do page, and he starts seeing all the pictures of him and Ellie together, and at the end where it says like, "Thank you for a wonderful adventure. Now go and have your own." I think that is so much more impactful than the first 10 minutes. Personally, I think that's my favorite scene in the movie.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Because, like, it's a strong message. She didn't need to go to Paradise Falls because just being married to Carl was enough of an adventure for her. And that is, like, really powerful.
really moving, if you think about it.
Yeah, and, like, okay, so I am going to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room in regards to Soul. Because a lot of people think 22 becomes either Ellie or Russell. I don't think either one works. I'm sorry. And I also don't think Mei Lee from Turning Red works all that well either. Honestly, the more and more I look at it, Wally makes the most sense. But Colette from Ratatouille is another common theory, so we'll get to that one eventually.
I mean, on the realistic side, just monsters. If you believe the Pixar theory, doors that are about the size of doors that are actually time traveling machines.
What's your point?
Now, now, excuse me if I say that not everything is based on reality.
There's a lot of good evidence to suggest that it is probably time travel, especially when you consider the desync in like human time versus monster time, and that's not even Pixar theory itself. That's just within the movie.
No, I'm just going at the part of where it is a door. There's not a lot to a door,
It's more
i.e.,
I don't know. It's more believable to me that they're traveling through time than that they are teleporting to a different dimension.
I think it's more believable that a bunch of balloons can carry a house than that a tiny ass door with no circuitry can either do can do either of those things. Because A, it needs power, but what's it effing powering? Like what circuits?
Lily, the Pixar theory does not state that it runs on electricity.
Um, that was the entire point.
No. The entire point was that it was magic.
I didn't say it's electricity. I say it runs off of power.
Yeah, but you
You
wouldn't
watch
really
the
need
same movie
circuitry.
where
You wouldn't really need circuitry. Like, the witch in Brave puts magic into wood all the time. And if you notice anything about Monsters, Inc., all the doors are made of wood.
where's a sliding glass door?
Yeah, there's no glass doors. There's no metal doors.
Actually, there is one metal door.
Okay, but that one's the one to the Himalayas, and it's not tied to an actual door on the other side. But anyway, we're talking about Monsters, Inc. more than we're talking about Up
No,
at
it
this.
is tiled on.
What?
It is. Sorry, last point. It is tied to a door because you can literally see Sully, opening and closing the door multiple
Well, didn't it
times.
disappear
And
after?
I think it disappeared over the thick layer of snow. Animation effects.
Maybe, but we're talking about Monsters, Inc. more than we're talking about the movie that we're supposed to be talking about here.
Oh yeah, down.
Yeah, down. But anyway, like if you buy into the Pixar theory, the animal's intelligence kind of makes sense. And as far as the Pixar theory goes, this movie would take place after Ratatouille. So it's kind of conceivable that Charles Muntz would have put two and two together and realized that animals were intelligent and created collars to enable his dogs to speak to him.
Wait. This movie takes place in a long period of time. If you count the past.
Okay, if you count the past scene, sure. But like,
No, I mean like, when is this movie actually starting?
that depends on how old Carl is, I guess. Because, like, this movie, the majority of it takes place the very same year that it released, 2009, which is the same for a lot of Pixar movies. Like, they take place the year they released. Um, Toy Story 1 and 2
So
both.
glad
Toy Story 1 and 2 both do that as well.
so glad we made it past Wall-E, guys.
Yeah.
No casualties here.
Well, I'm not saying that every Pixar movie takes place the year that it released, because that would be stupid. Wall-E makes it very.
And speaking about that,
Wall-E makes it very clear that it takes place in the distant future.
there's a very particular reason why I sent you that picture from Disneyland.
Why?
Well, it's just Cars lore that would have just absolutely not care about the Pixar theory at all.
Except it
If you
kind of works with the Pixar theory.
In what way?
A person found a what was it? A person found a spring in the middle of a desert. It didn't say a car found it, which implies that people existed in that world.
It also sounds like as their radiator. Well, it sounds like their own radiator broke down, and then, abandoned. Okay, this is not proving my point, but I'm saying they are the car, and they are about to die. And then that's when they found this blessing spring, and that's why they named it Radiator Springs, because they're about to die.
I mean, I think the once again we're getting too far off topic, but once again I think the image you sent me very much implies that it was an actual person.
Also, that line took forever. If you're going on that ride, don't.
Yeah, if only Disney had a fast pass. There's actually like a whole YouTube video about like a long and complicated history of Disney's fast pass. I
Also, I've always wondered. I know we're getting even more off track, but like, it's called Fast Pass, but the actual line is called the Lightning Lane.
it Anyway, regarding Up, um, so one of the things that's really cool about this movie, especially if you believe, yeah,
Everything.
if you believe the Pixar theory, is that like it makes sense how there is this bird, like how it exists. Uh,
Explain.
the Good Dinosaur, the asteroid that was supposed to wipe them all out, missed, and they developed intelligence. Um, so this bird very clearly looks prehistoric. And per the Pixar theory,
That's
you would expect this bird to be intelligent.
true.
Per the Pixar theory, you would expect this bird to be intelligent, which it very clearly is, like, because it's managed to evade capture for decades. So, I don't know. It seems pretty intelligent to me, and like with this movie taking place immediately after Ratatouille, we know that animals have intelligence, but humans cannot understand them, which is why the dog collars were necessary to begin with.
Though, someday I've been wondering, how good is chocolate for that bird?
We don't know because it's probably like a made-up species. Probably.
That is true.
I don't
Though
remember the
most
dog ever
animals
eating the
are.
chocolate, and God, I hope they didn't show that ever. Because like I'm not a dog person,
No,
and that might contribute to another reason why I don't like this movie as much because I'm not a dog person. Um, but yeah,
I'll say when I watched this movie, I thought it'd be more about Doug, but here we are.
yeah, Doug was involved in this movie a lot less than I remember.
I forget it's own TV show.
Yeah, and we will be covering Doug Days at some point, so that's going to be fun.
Some days.
Yeah. So, what are your general thoughts on this movie? Like, what things did you like and didn't like?
I think it was a really solid movie. I think it definitely pulls your attention with the opener, gives a nice little lore, and then plunges you into the world of your main character.
Yeah,
But I think we should talk about, and so I was watching this video about twist villains, and they call the villain from Up a twist villain.
that's a stretch.
I'm not I'm not sure how much I believe that, but if you can call it a twist villain, you can definitely call it a good twist villain.
Okay, see, here's my take on that. You know he's the villain pretty much from the start. I think I don't know, I feel like the only thing that makes me not like this villain as much is because it's another one of those never meet your heroes stories.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I'm
I
just kind of
mean,
tired of the never meet your heroes story.
I think Coco did it well.
Oh, yeah, Coco did it really well. But we'll get to Coco.
But I feel they like they did this, all consider a twist villain really well, as he had no reason to attack them,
You know,
and he's just being very
on what
friendly.
you said earlier, I do want to circle back to Coco for a second. I think the reason it works well for Coco is that character isn't really the main antagonist of the movie. It's it's Miguel's family.
I mean, he did cause the entire rift between his family.
He did, but like the ultimately the conflict throughout the movie was between Miguel and his family. Like they were the main focus, and
Mostly the dead parts of his
yeah,
family.
like his family, his conflict with his family was the focus, and this character was more of just the cause that we find out about later. I'm trying to avoid spoiler territory because we should really talk about Coco spoilers in our Coco episode whenever that happens. But yeah,
Pixar's down. My favorite movie. What?
how many times are we going to use this joke?
Too many.
Yeah, like I think
I mean,
literally
we
in
need
our
to
How
cut
to
out the
Train Your
time. It's
Dragon
26
episode,
minutes.
I think in our How to Train Your Dragon 2 episode, you said something about wishing this movie had a sequel, and I jokingly said down. So now we've like done this thing in 2 episodes.
We're gonna do it in Doug's days.
Maybe.
There's no stopping me.
Oh boy, fun. I had this weird moment where I thought the alpha dog looked like Boltund. So that was
Huh.
interesting. Boltund
And the alpha dog.
For those of you who
Um,
don't know, is a Pokemon from Gen 8.
actually, I didn't even remember that. That's how little I play Gen 8. Wait, did I say play? I meant cared.
Yeah, Gen 8 wasn't that good.
Well, I can almost confuse us for being. We're confused playing a Pokemon movie. Playing never mind.
But yeah, I swear to God, okay, the voice behind the alpha dog whenever his translator thingy is messing up, I swear to God I recognize that from somewhere. I can't place where, and I probably should have looked it up, and I might edit in a thing in like I might edit in a
I can just look it up now,
you
right?
probably could, yeah. The voice of John Ratzenberger was very early on in this movie. I recognized him immediately. Um, he was one of the construction workers that was talking to Carl very, very close to the beginning.
Oh my god. I tried to search it up, like the Alpha Dog, and apparently that's an effing movie.
Oh my God. Of course it is. But are you really surprised? But yeah, this movie, I don't know. It's in a weird place with the Pixar theory too, because like it really doesn't matter that much. It just kind of exists. It's one of the last movies before humans leave Earth, which is interesting because there's like a massive time jump. But it also takes place um, after Toy Story 3. And we actually see a child from Toy Story 3 in this movie. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Hmm.
because it's when Carl's house is taking off, um, and it's flying past this window, and there's a child playing inside this room. That child was from Toy Story 3. And this movie takes place only 2 years after, I believe. So that's
Okay, so this movie was in. Okay. Doug and Alpha have the same voice actor,
weird.
which is Bob Peterson.
I'd be interested to know what else he's in.
Literally everything.
Yeah, I'll look into it later so I can figure out where I know him from.
Monsters University, Roz, Mr. Ray and Finding Dory, Chick Hits and Cars 3.
There's a specific high-pitched, specifically the high-pitched sound is what I recognize. So I'm not sure where that's from, but I'll look into it later.
Additional voices in Mr. and the Incredibles.
Hmm.
But yeah, in Monsters Incorporated, he just plays the oh wait, what was her line? You didn't file your paperwork, Wazowski. That was him.
Okay. I haven't seen Monsters Inc. in so long.
I should rewatch that.
Yeah, it's largely because I feel like I want to do a Pixar movie marathon, and I keep starting them and stopping before I even get to Toy Story. And I'd be watching them in the order of the Pixar theory, of course. And well, Monsters Inc. is literally the last movie.
Yes, you're getting sick of Good Dinosaur.
I am. It's part of the reason why I haven't started another Pixar movie marathon. Because The Good Dinosaur is really not that good, and neither is Brave, to be honest. Brave is okay at best, but it has its problems.
I wonder how long, you started from the first Pixar movie to the last, how long would it take you?
Some time.
To finish.
Thank
you, Avery. Your insight is always
helpful.
It
would take you at least an hour.
No shit.
Okay,
really?
Honestly, if you started from the beginning and you did nothing else, you didn't pause the movie for any reason, it would take you...
And you would have to, immediately...
Yeah.
You'd have to program to switch it over immediately.
It would take you probably 2 days, because there are 25 Pixar movies.
Yeah, it seems legit. Every 24-hour stream watching Pixar movies.
No.
That gets so copyrighted.
I mean, it's actually fine as long as you delete the VOD.
Someone's gonna figure it out after the 12th hour.
But anyway, yeah. Regarding this movie, I think, it's definitely better than I gave it credit for as a kid.
Oh, for the record, I just been having the chill music just stuck in my head the entire time we were recording this.
Nice. So you can still hear me, right?
I remember
Because
it being played at Disneyland.
you can still hear me, right? Because usually
Oh, it
when I go
was.
to, do stuff on Google and we're on Discord, you aren't able to hear me, but now we're on Hangouts.
That's a certified downtown Disney moment.
Cool. She cannot hear me because I went to Google the critic reviews.
Do you have anything left to say?
Yes, actually, I do have a few things to say. It turns out that Hangouts does not also does that thing that Discord does, where I can't Google something and have you still be able to hear me. Yeah, it's
Annoying.
really annoying.
Or are you
I was
Googling?
Googling the critic reviews, so I
Oh,
could give those scores. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give them now. IMDb gives this movie an 8.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 98%, and Metacritic is 88%. On Google, 89% of Google users liked this movie. Once again, I don't really tend to
damn.
trust.
That's a bit low for Google, to
Yeah,
be
that is
honest.
really low for Google because, like I've said a billion times before, people don't often go on Google to dislike something.
Then again, I guess I can't say it's low for Google. I bet people just go for Google and just doing them 4 out of 5 stars, some stuff like that or whatever.
I mean, the way
Because let's
reviews
be
work
honest, they're
on
probably
Google, it's literally just either a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
oh,
So, yeah. Do you want to give your
I don't know.
rating of this movie?
I think I think a lot of these movie critics have it right around the 8 range. Because this is such a good movie, and I think what it does in storytelling, um, is able to make a calm, relaxing, but also suspenseful story. So how about 8.2?
I am going to give this movie a flat 8. 8.0.
Nice. Okay, so we're around the
Yeah, we're
same
really close. Yeah,
target
we're
then.
really close with this one. Um, so yeah, I was going to talk about the free movie of the month, but then I realized when this episode comes out, it will actually be the week after, probably. Um, so yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, I'm going to.
When is free move? What is gonna be the free movie
Well,
of the
we won't
month?
know until next week because we have to wait and see what's available in May. This episode's being recorded in April, by the way, for those of you who are listening.
Okay, but that's also cheating. It is April 29th.
So,
It is almost like we can literally see a May. It is out our windows.
anyway, regarding future movies, I'm going to go ahead and spin the wheel, and that's going to determine the episode that we're going to record tomorrow.
Imagine being at Doug Days.
I kind of really hope it's Thor, because we do need to get on with the MCU. But anyway, I'm spinning the wheel now. Oh my god! Finally. It's
What?
not Thor.
Thor?
Tangled.
Okay.
Yes! For those of you who don't know, Tangled is my favorite Disney movie.
No, for those who don't know, start knowing.
You better start knowing, yeah, because, oh, I could gush about that movie for ages. But,
Remember how much I gushed about Wally? Tenfold.
yeah, probably more. But anyway, until next time, I've been Avery. That's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.
I've been down. I don't know.